Hi everyone. If you're making videos like I do, you might have a lot of data. These are some of the hard drives that I've been storing my data on. And as you can, this is not all of them either. And I do make 2 copies. So things that take a lot of space are shooting conferences and also shooting very high end things like documentaries that have got to be shot at a high data rate. And these are over the past few years. So this one here is back in 2021. So one of the things that happens is I've got regular clients who come back, I'm filming their conferences or talks, and over the years, they're spread out all over these drives. And I don't need to get to them instantly. Some things are stored online, but video takes up a lot of space online. So not quite happy with that. For the photography, that's a bit easier to manage online, but again, it's a lot of space. So what I did recently is I got this. This is a NAS, network attached storage. It connects to my network. It's connected using a cable, network cable, Ethernet cable, to my router. And when it's on the network, I can then copy things across. Now, that's not as fast as connecting through a USB-C. So I wouldn't use it as a working drive, but it's a good place for storing things. And what's great about this one, this is an entry-level one. It's made by Ugreen. There are others that they do that have more drives in them. And there's another company as well called Synology that's also very popular. This one was very neat and tidy. And because I was just trying it out for the first time, I thought I'd go for this. Basically, inside here are a whole bunch of drives. Now, at the moment, I've only got the one in here, and I can easily expand it. This will take 120 terabytes in total. So I could have a mixture of different sizes, unless I'm using RAID, which is a different thing altogether. So RAID is where you've got redundant drives, so if one fails, the data is still safe on another. But we'll talk about backing up and things like that later. But before I forget, this is a backup. Don't use this as your only source of data unless you're not worried about using it. So for photos that are really important to me, and documents that are really important to me, and videos that are really important to me, they are stored online as well as here. Now, in terms of the video, that might not be all of the videos, but certainly the finished product. Now, if I want to add a new drive, all I need to do is take this drive bay. This is a 3.5-inch drive. I would put it into here, you screw it in, it comes with the screws, and then pop it into here and it will run through then installing it. So it's got all sorts of wizards and things, I don't know if they still call them wizards, that talk you through setting it up. And then this just sits here. This is actually very quiet. It's not on just yet, but I can tell you it's very quiet unless it's doing a lot of data transferring, and then you can kind of hear it. But this was sitting in a room and I didn't really even know that it was on. So the technology, these have become very quiet indeed. So I am going to add another drive to it. At the moment, I've got a 14 terabyte drive in here. I could have up to 4 30 terabyte drives. I'm thinking, wow, that's a lot. But I was thinking about the 30 terabyte drive as an option because truthfully, that will probably be storage for maybe the next 6 or 7 years for me of taking any of these. Now, I have 2 of these. When it comes to videos, and they're in 2 different places. That's a lot of drives to be getting and having to manage. And also now I know where they are. So I'll probably sell some of these once I've actually cleared a lot of them off. And it's just really easy to do. Now, in terms of setting up, there's lots of videos. The setup was really easy. When I set it up, I went onto the browser, put in the find my NAS, and it did the rest for me. So that's really good. The other thing I can do is I can put photos and video on here, and then there's an HDMI port at the back that connects to the TV, and I can watch those videos. On the front is a USB-C, so I can plug one of these in, so I can transfer directly across from here using the app, and I can do it with the browser on the computer, or on my tablet, or on my smartphone, which is an iPhone. So there are apps for doing all sorts of things on there. And I can get my files remotely as well. Now, one of the things I I would just want to say, as I said, this is not a backup. A really good idea, because there's actually a facility for doing this, is to have another one of these and have it at a friend's or family, or maybe in your office. And then overnight, I can get it to do a backup and transfer it across. So, you know, some people talk about this as being a way of getting rid of things like Dropbox, iCloud, Google Drive, your online storage. So my strategy is to reduce my storage online and reduce my cost, and then have this cover a lot of that as well. So some of the files on here are quite old. They're for conferences and things like that. I don't really need to keep them, but I think it might be a good idea. If something happened, I wouldn't be too worried about it. So I would say that is a really good option. So I'm just going to fire this up and just show you how this works on the computer just by going into the browser. So let me just switch it on. There you go. You might hear it. It's sort of kind of making a bit of noise as it's just coming up to speed there. But this is a great little device, and I think this is going to get me through a lot of things. So I was saying there's a USB-C on the front. So actually one of the things I do when I come back from a job now, put the card reader in and I copy the files directly onto here. I can then copy it onto the computer. Using this as a working drive is a little bit slow. So that speeds things up if I'm coming back in the evening and doing that. You can also set it up for FTP. So you can FTP things from your camera or from a device, computer, to this as well, and access those files as well. The one thing I would say I did have a bit of trouble with, which didn't connect, is if I've got drives formatted in the Apple format, APFS, that didn't connect. So a really good format for this is exFAT, but these ones are using Mac OS Extended Journaled, I think, and that did connect and that was okay. So that's a really quick way of connecting. Otherwise, you're transferring through your network, which is slower than that. So this is really fabulous. Let's just have a look at, I think this is kind of initialized now. I think it's going there. You can see some lights perhaps flashing on the front. So this is kind of good to go. I can move these out of the way. So if you're thinking about storage, and also the other thing is you can share this with members of your family or whoever you want. You can set up their own accounts and give them access to particular folders. They can be shared folders, they can be personal folders. So your data is protected and you do get to it through using a password as well. So the thing that I'm going to tell you about this is that when you have it on your computer, it does come up. You can connect as a network drive. So it's like a drive on your computer, whether it be Mac or Windows. So that's really handy. And also you can go and do this through the network as well, through your browser. So you can control things there as well. So it's as simple as just copying files across as you would do if you were just using your Finder or Windows Explorer, whichever one of those you've got. So let me just take a quick look here on the browser. So I've logged in here on my browser, everything's set up. You can see that there was a little assistant down here, talked me through the whole setup, just things that you can do. You can see your files here. So I can go here and I can see my files, and you can see I can get to them quite easily. Just double click here. On the side, you've got your personal folders. So you can click on those. You've got shared folders. And if I had an external drive plugged in, that would be showing here as well. And then I could do things like just right click and copy or move to wherever I want. So if I needed to, I could copy those back onto my computer here. Okay, so that's the files. I can look at my storage. There's an option here, and I can see if I go to storage, how much I've already used. And there are other things on here. Task Manager, that's telling me what it's doing and how it's running. It's like a little mini computer. There is also my Task Center up in the top right, and I can see what's being copied and so on. There's a task error there. I think I disconnected the drive before I should have. So you can see when things are copying and so on. There's also the App Center, and in here there's free apps like Theatre. So Theatre allows you to play the video as a movie onto your TV, and also you've got a similar one here for photos that is somewhere here. There you go, there's photos, and if I was to open it, so basically you designate a folder where you want your videos you want to play or your photos, and then it knows to detect it from there. So that's what you can do. You can do a lot of this using the apps on your devices like your smartphone and or your tablet as well. So I think this is really great. This is going to save me a lot of organization, and I'm now going to know where everything is because it's all going to be here on OneDrive. And I think if you're doing videos or photos, this is really useful. Do not think that this is a backup that you can get rid of your other backups, or that you can get rid of your online backups as well. But what I'm saying is, it's going to take away having duplicates of all these drives. Now, the reason I did it and got them in small drives, just so that you know, I did have a drive fail on me once, and I got someone to recover it. A big well-known company did it, and they told me at the time, and it was some years ago, not to have it on really big drives. So these are all 4 and 5 terabytes. And they told me that because, one, if it fails, it's a lot more. Let's say I had an 18 terabyte drive, that's a lot more data. But they also said they were more unreliable the bigger they got. I'm not sure if that's true today. But anyway, that's become my strategy now, is to use, and then I can access this remotely. The next thing I'm going to try actually is setting up the FTP and seeing if I can transmit from my camera directly to this. Not that I really need to, but I think it'd be good to know if that was possible. It's a good way of backing up as you're working. Of course, that would use more power on the camera, but maybe that's not an issue, and it's more important to get the data across. I can always switch batteries. Anyway, I hope that was useful. If you do like this, please do like, share, and subscribe, and come back for more.